I will never be prepared for what we're doing. It has failed 1,010 times. We're not doing what we started to do. We're completely different now than when we started. And if I hadn't started, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to chase that and expect God to answer the questions as we're going.
Yeah.
Not before we start the process.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Daron Earlewine Podcast. Sitting down again with Janice Agarwal. You are the founder, CEO, president, prayer. You have so many titles that are just so true of Watch Us, which is an amazing ministry that we're going to unpack here in part 2. Because in part 1 of the interview, if you haven't watched it, go back and watch part 1 of our interview with Janice. Because Janice, you unpacked the journey that brought you to start Watch Us, and you're going to tell this story. And it's going to inspire people. And when people see ministries like yours, they get all the feels because they love that it exists. And especially if they have a family member that's receiving the ministry and the love of it, it's life changing. But a lot of times we love where the stories come and the product of it, but we don't always go back and spend enough time looking at here's the journey that actually was the tilling of the soil, the planting of the seed that God did to create it. In episode 1, you get to hear that journey with Janice and her son Alex, her husband, and just the whole process. But this is part 2, where we start talking about the resurrection of purpose. We ended the last episode. You talked about that moment of mourning in Germany where you sobbed and had to embrace the fact that, listen, there has to be a new dream. But God showed up and he began to birth that, and that's what has become Watch Us. So let's go back to Germany, and then let's fast forward the story to what exists right now in Zionsville, Indiana, that is absolutely changing lives.
So there are places that do it right. There are places that when a parent has a child with special needs, the parent has hope that their child someday is going to have a job, they're going to have housing, they're going to have friends, lunch. Do you know what's important? If a kid doesn't have a job and a place to go, who do they have lunch with? Because we all go out to lunch with our friends, right? That's a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
So, and actually I was training at the Bobass Center, which is a center in England. It's a center for neurodevelopmental training, working with kids with special needs. And they're doing it right. The Germans are doing it right. They have places that are 3 and 4 generations old where they are living. There are farms. There's beautiful housing. They have jobs. They have orchards where people can go walk. The community can come in, farm-to-table restaurants. Manufacturing comes into their buildings and gives them real jobs.
Wow.
Miele, Audi, all these different companies. They come in and they allow them to have jobs. Like Miele came in with washers, dryers, and pressers. And so one person does washing, one does drying, one does pressing, and they've got a 5-year wait list because every ghost house and every hotel has made a decision they want to support their community. And they do such a good job. Of course you want to support your community.
Yeah.
So Audi and the rest, they've built chapels on the places so that their community can come in and get married. They can go to camps when the kids are young. It's an industrial kitchen so they can be catered to. And these are all done by adults with special needs.
So we got some things to learn here in America.
That our community is important.
Yeah.
That, we think we're doing a great thing by giving them housing. Okay, that's the same thing as welfare housing. Because you put them in a house, and if they don't have things to do, they get in trouble.
Yeah.
They also have no place to go. I kind of say, and people get mad about this one, it's almost like a gilded cage. Because you put them there, and if you don't give them transportation, a place to go, and you don't give them jobs, and you don't give them the ability to have friends, what do? They sit and they're on their computers, they're on TVs. They have nothing to do, and oftentimes they're preyed upon, or bad things can happen, and that is not what we wanted for our children.
Yeah.
So here we are in Europe, and these are beautiful places. They're beautiful. You can go, they open up at 8, people can go for walking paths, you take your children, and you want to support that because it's someone living there. Could be your neighbor, it could be your child, it could be your friend's child. The statistics right now are 1 in 6. example of that, in Zionsville, 7,400 students, 900 are special ed. 900. We are way behind. We are way behind. What are those kids going to be doing when they graduate from high school?
Right.
If we don't start this now and get bigger, we're going to have an issue. We're a pilot program. We started this, my husband and I, because this is what we could afford. This is what we could do, and we couldn't find the land. Someone needs to donate land. Donate land.
Action item number one.
Action item number one. So we started this, and we just slowly did it. We would bring kids out to work, teach them how to sweep, teach them how to shovel, teach them little things, right? And then we had a group that came out and said, well, we've got these outlets we want you to make. And we would learn how to make outlets for the wires. If you think about every outlet, a hotel has 1,000.
Yeah.
And if you pre-wire them perfectly, because electrical engineers are pretty OCD, we would pass them around and they would be perfect. COVID stopped that, but we would love to do that again. You know, so there are so many things that these adults could do, and we just started to figure out what they could and couldn't do. Almost every place in Europe has weaving.
Okay.
Big floor looms, make beautiful scarves or rugs or whatever, right? And that gives people a chance, first off, to see how amazing these adults are, but to buy things. They would have coffee houses. They would have things that people could buy so they could support these adults. I think that's a really important thing, because as a community, isn't that our obligation to help each other? It also gave those parents hope to make their child as independent as possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part. I have parents bring their children out to me, their adults out, and I will look at the child going, they have so much more potential. But because that parent who brought that child home originally didn't know what they were doing anyways, and they're only taking the advice of how can we get them through high school, we're not giving them the vocational training. We're not giving them, we want to make them independent. Okay, they're not going to be independent. Let's just go there. They will always need a safety net. Let's go there.
Yeah.
So let's provide a place where there's a safety net where they can have what kind of jobs they can have.
Yeah.
Let's figure out who they are, what are their sensory needs, what are their physical needs, so that we can come up with the best jobs possible.
Yeah, because there's still a lot of skills there that can be applied.
Skills.
Amazing skills.
And even if it's only a small skill,
Yeah.
why don't we use it?
Yeah.
And the thing is, right now, what we've done is we've taken the really high intellectually functional kids. So these are the kids that often don't get a lot of services because they're so independent, but yet they can't be on their own. Many of them fail at jobs. I've had kids that have 4, 5, 6, 10 jobs, failed, every one of them. Can you imagine? How would that beat up your ego
Yeah.
when you can't keep a job? Don't think that they don't have emotion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eventually, what we'd like to do as we get bigger, and what they do in Europe, is you have high functioning and low functioning. Do you know when you go to a Special Olympic competition, my favorite thing is you go to Special Olympics, and what you'll see is two kids hanging out, and one kid is actually helping out the other. So we think we want to put all kids the exact same together. You don't. What you want is all the opposites, because they start to actually help each other. Perfect example was this one kid, I'm not going to say names, would help a kind of higher functioning adult, took a blind kid by the hand, and when he's at Special Olympics, that's his buddy. Did someone tell him to do that? No. That's just what he does. When you go to Special Olympics, you'll see kids befriend each other. Like the higher functioning always gravitate towards those lower functioning and help them out. Don't worry about it, Mama. We got your child.
Yeah.
We got you.
Yeah.
And they will start helping each other. And that's community. So then what you have is these community grade school and high school kids that come out and do camps there. They help out. I love high school kids. We're looking for high school kids to do more of our media. And they start integrating, and it becomes normal to help out people with special needs. And then they start supporting that as they get older, So it becomes a natural thing.
Yeah.
Zionsville has one of the largest best buddies in the country. Carmel has one of the largest best buddies in the country. After high school, that should keep going.
Yeah.
And if we gave the opportunity for that to happen, it would. Those best buddies would always come back and support their friends. They'd go and say, we just have a person coming right now. We make cards at our shop. And she said, We're going to be getting married, and she's not a bridezilla. And can you guys work on making our wedding invitations?
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
how awesome is that? So instead of going to one person, they're going to say, how can I support this organization with dignity?
Yeah.
You know, yes, if they want to send us money, they can. But it's really great when someone says, can you guys make me a rug? I want it this size, this color. We do it. Or make me a scarf, or make me something. Or right now we're at the farmer's market. We built a greenhouse. We were donated a greenhouse. Hydroponics. We grow lettuce. And we grow lots of lettuce.
Yeah.
So we need to find more venues to sell that lettuce. We're always at the farmer's market now. Think about the kids who process that lettuce. They put on their gloves, they take it out, they make sure it's nice and clean, put it in a bag, and we send it off. We feed food pantries, we feed Zionsville, we feed some restaurants, and we want to get bigger at that. We are giving jobs to adults, and we are helping to feed part of our community.
Yeah.
You know, so again, this becomes community related. What we're trying to do is everything we do, our community can have a part in.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important thing. So people see us not as okay, this is just something else I'm going to support.
Mm-hmm.
They see it as a symbiotic relationship
Yes.
that we're hiring our neighbors, our community, and we are helping our community. We're doing the things that other people are not doing.
Yeah.
How fun is that?
I love it. The scarf you're wearing right now, made by one of your colleagues.
Thank you,
Andrew, awesome. And when you spoke at the Synergize event, you had the table runners, you had the rugs, and they are beautifully made. I mean, so intricate, so put together. It would be like they're like a designer scarf or something, and they're made right there at the farm.
And we do. And so one of the things we're trying to do is, again, reach out with our community, our designers. If you're a home designer, interior designer, whatever, come talk to us about making things. Wouldn't it be fun if you are a developer in every one of your houses?
Yeah.
So to say, okay, you're going to have a rug made by Watch's Farm. You live in Zionsville or Carmel. Currently, we only do Boone and Hamilton County. We just became providers. And that's a big deal. And the reason is Medicaid providers. So when someone has a child with special needs, they get on a waiver.
Okay.
We can actually start supporting them. We did that for two reasons. One, it will be a source of income so we can support other parts of our organization. But the other part, which is what I love, because remember, I'm a pediatric physical therapist, is we can start getting some of these people at a younger age.
Yeah.
So that we can help walk these parents through
So good.
and give them the hope that they need.
Yeah.
So that just happened this week. So we're going to start work on building the provider
good,
side of
Janice.
this, because we want to be that source of hope for these families. And we want to make certain to get the right information.
Yeah.
I want your child to start vocational training. I want them to be as advanced as possible. And the other part of that, what it will do is allow us with the housing. Again, in the state of Indiana, you have to be 80 or dead before you pretty much can get on the housing waiver. There are some group homes, but it's a very, very difficult path to go through. Wouldn't it be fun if that was an easier path? So that the day that baby's born, you're fighting. You have to fight to get the services. Then they get in kindergarten. You have to fight to get them the services in school. You got to fight to make sure they have the right education, that they're learning all the things. It's a battle. And you think, well, by the time they finish high school, I'm done. Well, no. See, that's just the beginning of another battle.
Yeah.
Why don't we make that easier?
Yeah.
So we can't make it for everybody, but we can start the process. If we could take this pilot program and make it bigger, have a community that people can see what it is. I want that so that when people look at it, they go, we want that in our city, our town, our state.
Yes.
So that we can move this thing.
And you guys have given a blueprint. They can just
That's
they can
our
follow.
goal.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
Yeah.
Just what I said before. The other thing I want is that when people come onto my campus, I want them to see Jesus. Because what would Jesus have done? He would have shown the love and compassion that people need. I think some of our churches are sorely missing this. Special needs is hard. It's really easy to go and help poor. It's really easy to go and help people that need skills. They need a house. It's a very small, it's a dot on a line. Special needs is forever. And that's a hard thing to do. So what we need to do is work a little harder to teach our churches how to do that.
Yeah.
But I have another idea.
Okay.
I want to start having church at my farm
Okay.
because everybody's going to come to that. I've had parents who hate God. They hate the church because of how they feel they have been. But when I say, well, if I had it at the farm, would you come? And they're like, absolutely.
Wow.
I want them to come and see Jesus there
Yeah.
in a way that their children and adults are actually ministered to
Yeah.
and minister to those families. So maybe the churches are doing a good thing, the best they can do, and we need to step up as opposed to the blame game.
Hey guys, quick commercial break here. Breaking news, exclusive, breaking, first time ever, heard in the world news, just for you podcast listeners. You guys know, we've been talking about it for a couple months now, The Death of a Dream, Resurrecting Purpose When Life Doesn't Go as Planned, my first book coming out October 18th. Well, listen, I talked to the publisher and I said, I got to take care of the podcast listeners. Can I have 100 free codes for free ebooks for the podcast listeners? They said yes. I said yes. Now I need you to say yes. All you got to do is email me, Daron at blackbirdmission.com. Let me know you want the book. I'm going to send you a free download copy, a free download code so you can download the book and start reading it months, literally months before anybody else in the world does. Why? Because you're a podcast listener. So email me, Daron at blackbirdmission.com. Let me know you want the book. I'm going to send you a download code and I want you to read it. I want to hear some reviews. I want to know how God's impacting your life through it. And I'm so excited to get the first 100 copies to you guys because you're podcast faithful. Appreciate you guys listening. Email me. I'll send you the book. Let's get back to the interview. Well, I love the image of that too, Janice. And I think I'm hearing this in so many different spheres of life. I'm hearing the business, academic, entertainment, and in social services, I guess you would say from where you guys are at, is the understand that, like, what if we just started taking some of our definitions off of what is church and what quality, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And realizing, like, well, what if we just were to gather the people of God in this place, right? And have sacred time with God's presence in a place that these people feel loved and like why, how is that not church? Why wouldn't we do that also here to create that? And that's something that you talked about earlier, about the idea of how important the presence of God is in connecting people. You talked about these, how often you walk the property and pray, and how much it's important to you that for one, times that you're overwhelmed by the presence of God in your space, on your property, but how necessary that is for others to experience. Talk about that a little bit.
So as I understand what you're asking, I don't know how you can get through life when life hits you so hard if you don't have a hand up. So we are all trying to get through this life, and it's crazy. It's crazy, and it's getting crazier. We need that hand. We need someone to guide us.
Yeah.
I think, this sounds so crazy, but when you walk your property, when you walk your house, when you circle your children with prayer, you are guiding them and guarding them. And both are two really important things.
Yeah.
We need to circle with prayer. We look at the Old Testament and we look at how different prophets worked. And what did they do? They circled.
Yeah.
We think of, when they came into the promised land, what did they do? They circled.
Yeah.
And I think there's something really important about comforting too, about taking something and circling it, circling your children, even if it's not a physical circle, walking around them, walking through what you need to do with them. It makes it more personal and the presence more thought and heavy felt.
Yeah.
I feel, especially when I'm mourning, but I feel God's presence on my campus. I know he's there. People know he's there. They know it's a special place. I think we need to do that more often in different places. we should be walking around our children in prayer, whether they have special needs or not, because the mental health issues are just crazy these days, right?
Yeah.
I think we're not doing that enough.
Yeah.
I think we take prayer for granted.
Yeah.
I think we take God for granted. We think he's just going to hang out and help. But how many blessings, how many things are we missing because we're not praying about it? Because we're not taking the time to do real prayer. Okay, God, help me out. Woo. God, I am angry. I am hurt. I don't know what to do. You've diagnosed my son with this diagnosis, and I don't even know the first thing to do. You got to start helping me here, and then just walk through the steps. What do I need to do here? What do I need to do here? God, show up, show off your power, because he can.
Yeah.
I started this ministry, and I was studying our prophets, and when God talks to the prophets, oftentimes it's through a whisper. It's not the earth-shattering stuff. So when he comes, he's not going to blow you out. He's going to whisper those answers, and we need to be listening for that. We need to feel the need to hear it.
Yeah.
We also need to accept the fact that it's not going to be an easy thing, One of my favorite things is Benaniah.
Okay.
Benaniah was a warrior who, read in the Bible that he chased the lion on a snowy day in a pit, and he killed him, right? How many times have I seen the lion and I walked the other way? How many times has God given me, and he has a lot, told me, this is what I want you to do, and I thought, I don't have this done, unless it's perfect, I'm not going to do it. That was not a perfect situation.
No, it was not.
So I think sometimes by faith, you just have to walk.
Yeah.
You have to go after the lion. You have to chase it. You have to make the decision that the answers are going to come along the way.
Yeah.
They're not going to be you're never going to be prepared.
Yeah.
You're never going to be prepared. I will never be prepared for what we're doing. It has failed 1,010 times. We're not doing what we started to do. We're completely different now than when we started. And if I hadn't started, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Yeah.
So we have to chase that and expect God to answer the questions as we're going.
Yeah.
Not before we start the process.
I love it so much, Janice. And so I'm inspired. Somebody's watching, they're listening, they're like, okay, I want to help. I want to get on board.
Chase a lion.
I want to chase a lion. So I love the thought you had about, like, if you're in real estate or you're building homes or you're doing this, like what if every one of your homes had a table runner or had a rug, whatever? What are all of the different things you guys are involved in that maybe some local business could say, hey, we could use that product. We could partner with Watch Us. What give us the quick little gamut of that real quick.
So right now, currently, we're making cards. We do lots of weaving. We do scarves and runners and stuff. Restaurants, we grow herbs. We grow lettuce. We grow tomatoes. So that's what we're doing right now. What we have done in the past, we've done a lot of manufacturing and electronics, but that kind of got shut down because we were doing it in our house, and the town said that it's ag, so we couldn't do it there. So ideally, we want to start building this out by saying, okay, so every designer, come look at our stuff. Tell us what colors you want, how big you want. If you want to give a great gift, we'll design a scarf for you. We'll design, oh my goodness, the table runners some of our people are doing, they're stunning, or placemats. We can do anything. The cards are adorable.
Yeah.
And they're $3, which is really cheap nowadays for a handmade card.
Yeah.
But it gives people jobs. So we're kind of expanding upon that. I don't know where that's going to go, so if you have ideas.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of every house having a runner, every house having a little carpet, that our kids have made. And every one of them has a tag which talks about the kid who made it, which is actually awesome. So you've given someone a job. 17% of the lettuce that is consumed in Indiana is actually grown in Indiana. That means that 83% is being shipped in.
Right.
Well, it's going to start going up.
Yeah.
So it's actually cheaper to buy it from us. And the recipes that we use are the same that they're using for cancer research, for people with cancer. It's so nutritionally dense. And we did that because when we provide for our community, I want to provide the absolute best that we can do.
Yeah.
So, and then we're going to slowly start talking to manufacturers. One of the things they do in Europe is the car manufacturers, which we have quite a few.
Yeah.
They bring the machines to the facility. And the quality control is the person owning that machine, because there's OCD is so great. Everything is perfect.
Yeah.
So those are kind of some of the things. Come to our shops, look at our websites, talk to us.
Yeah.
If you don't see it, we can make it. If you have an idea, we probably can do it.
Okay.
And until we have more orders, we can't have more people. I've just hired on 3 more people, but we have 15 people in my pipeline right now that just for my weaving shop. I have 3 people that want to come work for me immediately in the greenhouse gardens. As we ramp up, we're building our next line. As we'll bring another person in, and each line we go. But I would love a businessman to come in and say, "This is amazing what you guys are doing. Let's take this property and do more greenhouses."
Okay.
So the greenhouse is a great thing because we're providing food.
Yeah.
We're providing food.
Yeah.
And that's a great job for our adults because it's therapeutic also. So, but I don't know, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
If parents have a child with special needs, we're going to slowly become providers. That's going to take a little bit longer, but we want to be able to help them.
What's the website? How do they get connected?
WatchUsFarm.com. That's easy.
That's very easy.
Our Facebook is WatchUsFarm.com.
Okay.
I mean, everything we do is under the thing of Watch Us Farm.
Yeah.
We are called Watch Us, but we're on a farm. So we've made that very easy for people. Our shop in downtown Zionsville is Watch Us Weave. If you have a shop and you want more cards or you want some of our stuff, let's talk.
Yeah.
We, as we ramp up, we can pretty much, we're way underutilizing what we can do, but we can do more.
Wow. Janice, I love it. And I can't wait to see what comes from just this episode and how you can inspire people to partner up with you guys and what the ripple effect of that is. I think about, I've got a buddy who he's in Grand Rapids, Michigan area, and he's got some realtor friends where they decided they wanted to give cheese boards to everybody that bought a house, right? So he's making these cheese boards. He's not a special needs adult. He's just, he's a guy that does woodworking, but it's like, it's been an awesome little side hustle for him to make cheese boards. I'm thinking like, how awesome would it be for realtors out there to reach out and say, hey, listen, like, especially in Zionsville, somebody to buy a house and to know, like, listen, like, you're actually making a difference, in so many different levels because we partner with Watch Us Farm, Watch Us Weave. I can't wait to see what the ripple effect of impact from just this episode is. But Janice, keep up the great work. Stay connected to us. I love it. Like I said, from the moment you started talking at that event, I was like, I have to get to know this woman. I want to know the story. I want to let the podcast audience know. And so they get connected. WatchUsFarm.com. Best way to get connected. I'm sure all the socials are on there as well.
But can I tell you about the one social, which I haven't told you?
Please do.
First off, August 28th, we have our gala.
Okay.
So we need lots of silent auction, but I need sponsors.
Okay.
So if you have a business or you want to sponsor, I think it starts at 1,000 up to 10,000.
Okay.
That's a great, and that's how we use all of that money that's provided for the greenhouses, provided for the tools and stuff that we need. And then on October 1st this year, every year, Fall Festival, we grow a 1-acre pumpkin patch, and anybody who has a child with special needs and their siblings come out for free.
I love it.
They get to pick pumpkins. They have games. We have food. It is just from 10 to 2. It is just a delightful day. It's one of my favorite days. We just grow tons of pumpkins for that. It's very low sensory, so anybody can have a great time.
Yeah.
We really like when they bring the siblings out because siblings are affected by this also. And oftentimes they don't get to do a lot of things because of that child with special needs. We make that day amazing for them. They get prizes. They have a great time. They laugh and they get food. And they may never have gone to a fall festival because of their sibling.
Sure.
We're going to make sure they have the best day ever.
That's October 1st.
October 1st this year. It's a Saturday from 10 to 2 on the farm.
And all that's on your socials on the website as well.
Yep.
Reach out, get connected, watch them farm, watch them weave, join together, and let's just see so many more dreams resurrected through what you guys are doing. Janice, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I love it. Until we talk to you guys again or see you again here on the podcast, always remember these 3 things. God's for you. He's not against you. He's near you, not far away, and he has created you. Even if you're living with special needs, it doesn't even matter. He has created you with an amazing purpose on purpose. Appreciate you guys watching this episode. We'll see you again.